This interview is brought to you by Burn Up Coaching and the 12-hour marathon and becoming your greatest possible self with our 21-day challenge. And if you're an entrepreneur or a high achiever and you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed, or you're just not clear on your purpose in life and you want to really dial that in, you want to get that clarity, then the 21-day challenge will help you do exactly that. It'll get you clear on who you are, what your mission, your vision, your strategy, your objectives, your passions, your values, what's important to you. It'll get you super crystal clear on that, and in 21 days, you'll get that dialed in, and you'll be taking massive action and achieve your top goal for those 21 days. So that's what the 21-day challenge is. If you're interested and committed and ready to dive in, send me a message, chris@beyourgps.com, or you can find me on Facebook and message me there, and just let me know you're ready for the 21-day challenge. All right, thanks so much in advance, and I look forward to helping you break through and step into your GPS. Next is the iTunes review of the week, and it is by A Great Podcast. And A Great Podcast says, I met Chris at a live event and knew he had a knack for attracting great people to his show. Because he is authentic and high energy himself, that's the kind of people he invites to his show. The result is some of the best practical, applicable advice you can get from people who have done the work themselves and can share what they've learned to shorten the learning curve for yourself. This is a great podcast. I really love the episode with Lyra Kay because I could so relate to the kinds of mistakes that coaches make in building their business. So thanks so much, A Great Podcast. And if you want to give us a review, go to beyourgps.com/iTunes or search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self on iTunes, and you can give us a review there. And we super appreciate you doing that and letting us know how we can grow, what you really love, what we can improve on, and how we can keep becoming our greatest possible selves together. Thank you so much in advance for doing that, and I appreciate your feedback. We do, everyone here, the guests, the audience, me, the team, all of it. Thanks so much. Next, we're going to be moving into this amazing human being, Sumedh Chatterjee. He's going to rock the house. I'm going to read his intro. Then we're going to play a video intro that he submitted and contributed to us so that we could really give you an idea of who he is and what he's all about. So you're going to hear it on the podcast, and if you want to watch it and see the video yourself, definitely get to the website, beyourgps.com, look for Sumedh's post, and watch the video because it is absolutely rocking. Great graphics, great video, and I can also put it in the show notes as well so you can get that, okay? So Sumedh Chatterjee is a master's in applied positive psychology and coaching psychology. He is a well-traveled peak performance coach, creativity catalyst, and everyday alchemist. He helps amazing creatives with information overload and overwhelm generate inner peace, happiness, and awaken their inner genius. He helps his clients to tap into the flow state for enhanced passion, purpose, and performance. So we're going to play that video right now and get excited because this dude is about to rock it in another minute or two here, okay? Let's load it up on the screen and make sure that the audio is loaded. Yep, capture. Cool. Good to go.
Do you feel like you're stuck in your life? Physically, emotionally, mentally? Do you feel like your brain's in a fog and you're unclear? Do you feel as if you don't have an ability to focus and you feel that your life is boring? And you just feel like you're invisible and you're not living a full life, that you're just living fractionally and wasting time? It may even feel like you're living in imposter syndrome and you feel like a fraud. Well, my name is Sumedh Chatterjee. I'm a peak performance coach from the Flow Zone Academy. And I put together a program to help you overcome all of that. To help you have more creative expression. To help you with the big picture perspective. To have more fun and playfulness in your life so that you become present and blissful, living with more aliveness. Because I know you might be thinking, my life sucks. But what you're really afraid of is not telling people that you're living in a facade. But you know what? The problem you think is the problem isn't the problem. There's information that you've never received. And the thing is that no one's really sat down with you and talked with you how to live in a life of flow. But when you live a life of flow, when you're living in the zone, you overcome all of those things. So if you're interested in doing this, I'd like to invite you to schedule a Flow Awakening Fundamentals conversation with me. This is the start of your hero's journey. May the flow be with you.
Ding! All right, that is the video. And we're going to put a pause on this. Coaching with Sum. That's right. He's going to tell us all about him, what he's up to, and there's the website, coachingwithsum.com. Awesome stuff. I'm going to close that and bring on the one and only legend, Sumedh Chatterjee. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show, baby.
Woo! Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. I'm waiting for the music to start playing in your background after watching that video, like seeing your face, you talking with like this dramatic music in the background. Yeah. I'm just waiting for it to come out in our interview, man.
Right. Have the universe there too, yeah.
Right? I love it though, dude. Thanks for being on here. You are like on the other side of the world, and you really got up early to make sure that you could be on this podcast. So I really appreciate you coming on here to help our audience grow into our greatest possible self and really step up into our flow. And I know that this conversation is going to be incredible. I see a lot of myself in you that like really resonates a lot, and we're going to have an amazing conversation. So again, thanks so much for being here, brother.
You're so welcome, man. And it's a pleasure to be here. And thank you so much for the invite. And I really, really appreciate it. Happy Halloween.
That's right. Celebrating on the 12-hour marathon.
Yeah.
So we're going to yeah, right? Ghoulishly good. We're going to dive in, man. Dive into the theme of the day, which today is facing your fears. Talking about spooky, man. What does this mean for you? Facing your fears, how does that relate to you in your life? How has it impacted you on your journey, brother?
Oh man, I think it all starts on the stage, being a part of just an actor in the past. I kind of use theater techniques today. However, just being on stage and that awkward feeling of just everybody watching you, and really the rule in improv is to follow the fear, right? It's to follow the fear and do it anyway. And that really resonated with me even just back then in high school. And then from there, I guess I always knew that subconsciously from there. Right. And whenever times would come up where I would be fearful, there'd be times where I would bring up that same idea. And so instead of seeing fear as this red light, I now see it as like, go, right? The green light. Yeah. And I think that's been super beneficial in terms of just being able to see fear not as this thing that we shy away from and go into flight mode, but actually sometimes it can also be that fight in terms of survival, because fear is one of those survival instincts that kicks in. And so just being able to just weave in and out of it in terms of fight and flight, like when to run, right? But you also know when to fight it. And I think that balance has been a perfect way for me to really challenge myself, keep me on my toes, at the same time really understand that it doesn't need to be this thing that I'm creating, the story that I'm creating in my mind. So knowing partly that it's an illusion, because a lot of the times fear is based on the worry of the future or the worry of the past, right? And it's really just taking away from the presence. And so that's just another layer to it as well. But yeah, dude, fear. Ooh, I'm excited.
Dude, we're gonna be diving in even more. I'm super stoked for this interview. So thank you for sharing your perspective. It's like that flow. I really what I heard in your answer and your response is flow. Like knowing when to flow into which aspect, the fight or the flight. And knowing which way to face your energy and direct your energy is important, so that we can get the maximum return on investment of our energy and be the most productive, be the most successful, fulfilled, all that good stuff, happy people that we can be. So Sum, I want you to tell us a little bit more about your flow coaching. Like you help people with a unique aspect of life in coaching and performance that I think a lot of people, they know about, and like you have this whole like paradigm on it that you're helping people with. So tell us a little bit more about your coaching and what people come to you for.
Well, Chris, at the end of the day, I really don't want to beat around the bush. I'm an agent of transformation. Okay, and I help people just get to that level of just where they're at now and where they want to be. A lot of people who are coaching and want to join the academy, they are stuck. They have this feeling of stuckness or stagnancy, and they want to get to that level of just being able to get to that peak performance level where they can freely just weave in and out of it, but also seeing it more as a lifestyle. So seeing it as a very long-term thing and a life mastery thing rather than just a flow state that they get in and out of. Because what I'm really trying to do is help them to create rituals for themselves that they can now use so they can tap into their unique flow state. Because this is a subjective experience, as you know. A lot of people get into flow state based on their preferences or what they like. And so for me as a coach, I think it's up to me to really personalize it and make it easy for them to tap into it as a source and a resource and a trait of resourcefulness, so like all together, like packed into one, right?
Yeah.
And so I just think that what I do in comparison to, like, let's say Stephen Kotler and his Flow Genome Project, or let's say Csikszentmihalyi, who's like the founder or the pioneer of this stuff. What I'm looking to do is more focus on different aspects of flow and use, even in terms of really trying to make that merge between spirituality and flow. And also, I'm really looking forward to just getting people to look past that, oh, wait, this is only for high performance athletes and like death defying sports, but really you can use this in pretty much every day. And there's this concept of micro flow as well, and just being able to utilize it in day-to-day activities. So I think that's just primarily what I do. I help people get into that state, and I help to prolong it, hopefully in the long term.
Yeah, definitely, man. And what I hear is, like, flow it's not just something that's reserved for the quote unquote elite or the people of select talent or training or, privilege. It's for people who want to get into a higher level of consciousness. It's for people who want a higher level of presence, of love, of performance, of anything that people want in life. Flow and understanding flow is an access to those things, is an access to those benefits, those end results. Could be, flow to get the woman or the man of your dreams, like tapping into that flow so that you are in the stream of moving towards what you desire and having it move towards you as well, so to speak. So you're doing all these awesome things today and helping people and empowering them to get into flow. Let's dive back into the journey, man. What was that like? How did you really create and stumble upon flow? I know, you've done amazing things, binaural beats, interviewed amazing people, had channels, like lots of really cool stuff in terms of impacting the world and making a difference, being an influencer, really cool stuff. So let's dive back into that journey. Tell us about some of those big projects that you completed and accomplished, and some of your biggest, milestones, and also those wisdom learning lessons that you picked up along the way through growth, through challenges, through overcoming those fears.
Absolutely. So just going back all the way, the beginning of my journey, I think I have to think of the opposite of flow, right? Because I have to think of that stuckness that I had that I just wanted to escape from. And I think that was really just the tipping point for me, where I started to really try different methods for self-improvement, right? I tried everything, man. I tried just all the self-help books. I tried just looking up different facets, and just what worked for me the best was this idea of positive psychology and flow. And so just as I started to look into that focusing on our strengths actually helps to it helps to focus, but also helps to refocus, right? Come back to it. And so that aspect of it really got me to just explore it on my own, because I was very creative, like almost hyper creative as a child. I would like publish books at like 11, 12, right?
That's awesome.
And so I just felt like this was something that I really had to look into, because I've noticed this pattern around creative people is that there's a lot of destruction there. There's a lot of like self-indulgence, self-harm, like just a lot of negative energy surrounding the artist. And so I really wanted to also delve deep into that and like help people, like, what is the starving artist archetype that people keep falling into? What is that trap? And really just understanding that, and like going to a liberal arts college, you know, seeing that in a lot of people, and just really working in that shadow side of myself, working on that on myself so that I can help others with it too. And so just really understanding that this journey, I mean, the milestones that you talked about, it's really just been my clients, like them getting that epiphany, those breakthrough moments, as well as just like getting on interviews and podcasts and being able to share my message beyond like what is going on in here. And so it's taking the ethereal and like making it material. And that's just amazing. And the amazing mentors that I've had, right? Zach and just Joe Nicasio, like amazing people like backing me as well and just pushing me forward in terms of just ultimately noticing my vision, noticing what I'm doing, and also being able to give me that sense of creative structure and a clarity, which I think is super key.
That's awesome, man. So I know you also did like really cool interviews and, you know, like you do binaural beats. Tell us about that aspect of creativity, seeking information more in your like late teens kind of years.
Right. And people just complicate this idea of creativity. It's basically just old ideas with new insight. That's just to look at it is. And in terms of the past, I mean, since this has been one of my top strengths, I decided to really hone in on it and go into it with a level of kind of respect for it. And I also think the binaural stuff stemmed from me trying to research and figure out what is it about flow that really gets people, because there is a brainwave associated with flow as well. So, right, there's the beta waves, which is very like that monkey mind, right? And then we slowly go into the release, the alpha waves, right? And then after that, it's kind of like that nitric oxide, right? It's that blood flow and that relaxed wakefulness that takes us right into flow. That's the gamma and theta waves. And if we want to give personalities to each of these, like you thinking of let's take beta, right? Beta is like, and people in society confuse this with beta male, alpha male. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about personalities in general. Like the beta is like angry, like frustrated, trying to survive, just being able to, you know, constantly anxious and looking around, like the inner Woody Allen, like kind of just like neurotic and like looking around. And then that struggle brings into it a level of peace. And the alpha male is more like that relaxed, wakeful dude. He's kind of like, okay, I have focus, I have determination, but I also am calm, I'm cool, I'm collected, I can handle myself in situations. Then the flow state is either the theta male, which is like the complete relaxed, wakeful, you know, guru almost, to the point of where he's just meditating and like elevating himself. And the gamma is the hyper intellectual, so being able to analyze, use his memory, like the NCT 48, like kind of like limitless films. And so from there, we also need a state of recovery after that. So that goes struggle, release, flow, recovery. That's the flow cycle. And in terms of just binaurals, having people listen to alpha waves, having people listen to gamma and theta waves, just help them get out of that beta brain, and also help them get out of that delta sleepiness, because delta waves are helpful for people in dream realms, going to sleep. And so just listening to those two things, waves and gamma waves, sometimes theta waves as well, really helpful in terms of just tapping into that flow. And Yeah, so that's why I found the whole binaural thing. I'm the only program on Flow that I see doing it,
Right.
using binaurals as a part of the program. So yeah, I'm really excited about this technology. I think sound technologies is definitely an untapped resource.
Right.
There's a lot of people who understand the concept of sound as vibration, but I don't think that they've really looked into it much. So
Yeah.
I think this is also a big element of the future, let's say.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful, man. So, how did that, how did you bridge the gap between, hey, I'm designing these sounds and these ways to really tap into flow and understand human consciousness and brainwave patterns to modify and modulate performance and modulate, how we show up. How did that transition into coaching? What was that journey like for you?
Well, I would notice I kind of used myself as a lab rat in a way and used binaurals for a long time before I could say for myself, okay, this is going to help people. This is going to help a lot of people. This is going to help my clients. And so anybody just delving into it, I mean, they go in with a lot of skepticism. And what I've noticed is that's not like, that just shuts off everything, any
Right.
kind of possibility, because there's that sense of just not sure that it works and then doesn't end up working for people.
Right.
So I would say one of the primary things is belief, and also just being able to also drink lots of water. It can be really dehydrating to listen to a lot of brainwave activity, like just getting yourself turned up. So I would also, yeah, that's why I have water with me. See?
Bro, tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Splash.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, just I think that flow, and that binaural stuff, it's just a gateway to genius. And it's not for everyone, but people who want to be in my course, like they're trying to be in their highest peak. They're the type of people who want to be in that top performance, and they're super committed to changing themselves. Not everyone's willing to, right?
Yeah.
And there are lots of obstacles that block flow, and I've created a program that creates methods for people who are feeling that stuckness to really get to that level of flow. So I think the coaching aspect is definitely more of me understanding myself and how I can help myself in order to help others. We teach best what we most need to learn. Right?
Yeah, dude, I love that, because one thing I found when I hit my rock bottom and I just totally wasn't feeling on purpose. I felt like I was throwing my life away and just drinking and partying, doing stupid stuff, right? I set out to make sure that I never wound up in that place again. And as a byproduct, I said, well, if I'm going to help myself, I probably am going to have to be contributing and serving others to make a difference. Without doing that and making a difference for them, then I'm gonna be limited. I'm gonna limit myself. Like, what better way? I love that you said you do experiments and testing on yourself. Like, what better way to find out what works and what's going to really propel us to success than to support others in their journey and find out what are the leverage points to be able to and leverage things and activities, habits, behaviors, leverage knowledge, information. What is that's going to really catapult us forward? And the best way to find that out is to create a consensus, so to speak, of not only did it work for me, but it worked for him, and him, or her. Nothing against women. So it's to create a sample set, so to speak, of people who it's also worked for is really empowering for us as creators, as experimenters, scientists, people who are creating the future and hypothesizing and doing all these things. I think it's super valuable, and I found that in my own life, I said I want to coach too, because I want to master myself, and I know the best way to master myself is to help everyone around me master themselves as well.
Yes, absolutely.
I love it, man. So let's dive into flow more and the flow fundamentals, what we need to know about that aspect of life so that we can really start tapping into it too, including, binaural beats. We talked about that. That's one way that we can really tap into that. And if there's a foundational point, if there's something that we need to know further about why flow, about how flow, about, what is it, take us there, man.
Right. So I'm going to share with you a few fundamentals of it, but for the rest, they're laws, man. They're secrets of my course. So I don't want to reveal too much.
Okay.
But the thing is about flow, there are a couple of things which just work, and the research has shown it, and just understanding it on another level. I mean, you know what? Let's do this. Close your eyes for a second.
Okay.
Let's all go into this. Now I want you to think back to a time where completely in that flow state for you. I want you to imagine time slowing down for your speeding up. Imagine completely honed in, seeing all your environment, being hyper-focused, almost being at one with the environment. And be real, or you can even have imaginary elements there, right? The mind can't tell the difference. So here, let's have fun with it. So now what I want you to do is just make the colors brighter. Brighter. It's almost like that saturation that hurts the eyes. Complete white light, right? Oh, you're feeling it. And just whoosh, bring it back right now. Back into your own body. So how did that feel like for you? What was that experience like?
Felt great. It felt like, I was making stuff in Photoshop, and I just felt myself being lost in the magic of creation, of art. And like when the colors got more vivid, more bright, it's like my creation came to life. It's like life was being breathed into me. My brain was like activating. It felt like, at a higher level. So I'd say that was my experience.
That's amazing, man. So the first three things of flow, which I'll tell you, it's S.E.T, which I'll help people remember this as well, because it's a really catchy acronym. Mm-hmm. So that sense of selflessness, losing yourself to get into that quantum field, that other realm, to say the creative space. If we're too attached to ourselves, who we are as artists, if we think that we are a genius instead of that we have a genius, it just blocks us completely, blocks us off. So what I tell people to do is just completely lose that sense of identity at times. Just be able to be more pliable, malleable, flowy, right? Yeah. Flowy is a word that I just came up with, I just started using. And that senselessness that comes not from just being completely not connected to your senses, because I think the sense aspect is important as well. Being able to feel things on a deeper level, being able to just completely immerse yourself. Of course, you're going to be feeling things. So I don't want people to just recognize this as losing your senses, but losing your identity, losing their sense of self. And from there, it moves on to effortlessness, that feeling that do what comes naturally to you. Do what you're good at. And a lot of people will be like, oh, he's good at that already. Let's not build on it. But the thing is, a high level of skill mixed with a high level of challenge and a perfect level. I mean, it has to be a balance, right? You don't want anxiety from too much challenge, right? And you don't want boredom from too less. So I think that flow channel is amazing when you focus on what you really love doing, and when you can do that consistently and get into a ritual and make it kind of your life's mission, I guess, in a way, that mastery aspect of it. And so that effortlessness comes from just knowing and having a sense of control of what you're good at, and just being able to just do it effortlessly. Don't hold yourself back and just force yourself into weird situations, but allow that sense of challenge and struggle your starting point, but don't stay there. Go into release, go into that next phase of flow, and allow yourself to take time to rest. And the last one is T, S-E-T, right? We went through both of those. The last one is timelessness. So when we're in flow, what researchers have noticed is that time is completely distorted. It speeds up for some people, it slows down for others. And there's not really one set rule on it, but a lot of people have noticed this aspect of timelessness. I think incredible, this feeling of timelessness, because look, a flower doesn't worry about like what's going to happen to it tomorrow. It doesn't worry about the flowers that are blooming. It's just there and it's blooming. It knows its purpose. It's just there. That's kind of what I want people to walk away with in terms of flow. Like knowing this, knowing your passion and just blooming it slowly over time, building on it, where essentially you're just creating a sense of mastery, and then it's more second nature to you. Now you've learned to play the instrument. Now you can just play. You don't have to tune it anymore. You have to get into that whole ritual of just reading the pages anymore. You can improvise. Right. And that's really that level of next level flow, I'd say.
So you said selflessness, effortlessness, and timelessness, right?
Yes.
And you said that there was like some kind of phrase to match it, so we could remember it, or?
Oh yeah, just S-E-T, so set, like it's a set way to success, I guess.
Right.
You could
say
that.
Perfect. And I also noticed it's lessness, like all of them are lessness, selflessness, effortlessness, timelessness. So I think that's really cool pattern you got there as well. So as far as applying that to areas of life, let's go through a couple. You mentioned music, but let's like really apply this to how we can apply it to our lives. Like how can someone who is wanting to get into flow around, let's say something that's not very creative, but we do have a lot of entrepreneurs here, making sales calls. How could they get into a flow of that?
Absolutely. So when you're doing a sales call, you just have that level of, man, I'm feeling so cool. And then it's like comes time to sell it, and then you're like, wah, right?
Yeah.
And so to be able to maintain that flow, what I would say to people is just be able to not be so attached to the outcome. Because the sale is if that's what you're attached to, and you're not attached to actually giving the value and having fun during your calls when you're selling and really connecting with another human being, that's really cutting off your flow there. You're focusing on, I'm going to get this money, right?
Right.
And so if you're doing that, then it's just taking away from the whole aspect of you having fun with it. This is what you love doing. And it also takes away from that sense of losing time and like just losing yourself. Because sometimes I'll have my sales call go a little bit over time. And that doesn't matter, because what I'm doing there is I'm having fun with it. I'm benefiting because this is enjoyable to me, to be able to connect with this person, having them see my value in my program. And if not, hey, there'll be another person who will be. And so that really helps with the flow, just that ability to walk away from the call too. It doesn't have to be like this call that you have to hop on and you have to get that end result, but you get to. You have the opportunity to. And I think that shift in mindset will help people in their flow with their calls a lot.
Yeah, and one thing that comes to mind is using all these principles like selflessness, effortlessness, timelessness. How do we, use timelessness, for example? Like how as a salesperson do I say, am I feeling and experiencing timelessness in this? If not, what could I do? What could I shift? How could I look at this? What could I experience that has me, just like instantly be there, be with them, and that's, I think it's a practice in presence. Like, how can I see this person as the most important person in the world? The kind of timelessness and selflessness in this specific example that I'm saying kind of go hand in hand. But I think these are filters to say, am I being this? Am I being timeless? If not, what can I do to shift that? How can I adjust? How can I show up in that way to make the experience more flow-like?
The only time is now.
Mm.
And so in the middle of your sales call, just put your complete focus on the other person and just listen to them. Listen to what they're saying. Because the cues in what they're saying will give you cues into how you can help them and how you can provide that level of value. So I would say just give yourself a timer, but also if you're going off time, it's okay. Let it happen. Let it go, 5, 10, you don't want to go hours in, but just let it go 5, 10, 20 minutes off and just have fun with it. Start experimenting with it and make it like almost like a sport. Right? You're getting better and you're adjusting your game in terms of being a salesman or a salesperson, saleswoman, and being able to just have that. So what I've noticed in myself when I'm in a sales call is that when I'm there, I know that I'm there and it's happening. It's for real. And I could just go on and on about how this is going to benefit them. But if I'm not listening to them, if I'm not taking into consideration what they need right now, and if this is a right fit for them, then I'm completely missing out. I'm cutting myself off. I'm integrating myself. I'm not having that sensitiveness to that person. I'm saying, this is me as a coach. I am the master, which is not true at all. I'm just another person, a facilitator, right? And this is the person I'm trying to sell to. Completely shift that dynamic around. You're two people having a conversation and just seeing if you're a good fit or not to work with each other. And not even work, but play with each other, right? This is a fun journey.
Right.
And I think just shifting that aspect of it will just help that timelessness and that selflessness. Yeah.
So for, let's say, something that's more high stakes, because this is really cool for, you and I working with one-on-one clients and, saying, hey, you want to make your life better, you want to tap into flow, you want to increase your performance. Like, fun is all good. And like at, let's say, executive level, people, they're more so like, what are the numbers? What's the bottom line? Is there really room for flow and for fun in that type of a conversation?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you why. As children, we have that sense of playfulness. And when we grow older, we feel we have that sense of focus. And to merge the two, that's genius. That's powerful. Right? Just because as adults, we can focus in on one thing. As kids, we're distracted. We're like, oh my God, yeah, there's a puppy there. Yay. We just go over there, right? Not able to focus. But as adults, we really have that sense of focus. And so that playfulness plus that responsibility of an adult, boom, you got it. So even in the boardroom, I mean, how many people are really smiling and laughing? Not a lot, right? And so if you're able to actually be that sense of positive emotion, like be that source of laughter for people, get them to connect to you on a deeper level, because laughter helps you learn.
Right.
And what the flow does is it helps you learn faster and much more effortlessly. And so what I would tell people is just tap into that sense of playfulness with that sense of responsibility. Don't lose that sense of responsibility, because if you're just playful, boardroom, people are not going to be taking you seriously.
Right.
However, if you do have that level of clarity, focus, you know what you want done, you have that adult responsibility that I have to look after myself, I have to look after my company, I have that sense of leadership. There's even almost like this is my tribe, or just getting to that level of it. And then also knowing, like, have fun with it, playing around with it, making the mistakes. And really just that will do wonders for anybody's flow who are really in that high performance, that state in the business world where it's so down to the little details and being punctual. That little bit of playfulness will add that extra edge for them, because they need that to balance out their responsible, serious adult side.
Right.
They need that to give them that fuel. And yeah, so that's what I would tell them. It's just responsibility plus playfulness. That's your genius.
Wow. So that's, would you say that that's the essence of awakening your inner genius, is to merge that childlike play and wonder and fun, and the older mastery of thinking and of logic and of responsibility and of, it's a mastermind, so to speak, who has gone through experience, who has wisdom, who has discernment, and is able to bring that together to be able to create the ultimate end result.
I mean, yeah, I would definitely say that's an aspect of flow awakening. And just being able to combine the two sides of your brain, I mean, that's magical. A lot of great inventors have been shown, like their brains have been working simultaneously. Their creative side with their logical side are just completely overlapping. And yeah, I mean, just what you said is just, that's what it is. That combining those two elements is also tapping into both sides of your brain.
Right.
So you're using all of this and not just one of this. And I think, yeah, that's an incredible way that people can tap into their genius and flow.
Wow. Powerful, man. So for people who are building a brand, they're building an online brand, how does flow relate to like building an online brand and really being able to share our message and empower in an empowering way, in a powerful way, concise way, and really to build our business, our impact, and our brand? What do you see as a correlation there?
So in terms of building a brand, I would say getting really clear on what your brand is. And what I mean by that is, who are you? Who are you in relation to the brand? Are you in flow as well? And if you're flowing, your brand is flowing. Right. If you have things flowing in your personal life, if you're having a great relationship with your partner, if you're having a great sense of, okay, I'm setting aside time for my family, and just understanding that that is a part of your brand too. Who am I outside of this? Who am I? Because like how we do one thing is how we do everything. Right. And so just being able to bring that sense of that brand mentality and what you stand for. What do you stand for and what do you not stand for? And how can that help you in terms of your flow? Yeah. And merging your higher self with your shadow self. Just being able to bring them together and say, hey, these are two sides of me. There's a dark side of my brand too. People don't recognize that. But there's also a very light side. And if I tap more, I have the choice. I can tap into that light side. I can be able to utilize that. I'm at the neutral point where I'm looking at both sides of this brand thing. And I'm like, okay, hey, maybe I'll have little elements of darkness in there. Ooh, now it's adding sophistication. Now it's adding mystery. Ooh, what is this brand? So I just think that being able to draw different elements from your personality, from your own life, seeing how other brands have done it, like success leaves clues, and also just being able to tap into that aspect of, oh yeah, this brand is doing it this way. How am I different to that? What can I bring that is creative in my own way? Because it's an old idea. Maybe I'm just creating a new waffle that everybody likes, but how is it different than any other waffle? Now you're adding elements to it. Now you're really creating that brand. What does your customer want? Right. And maybe they want the gluten-free waffle. And now you're going into that you're tapping into that customer more, and you're empathizing and sympathizing with them to help them into your flow as well, into your flow channel.
Yeah, so I heard integrating the parts of ourselves that we may not have been aware of before or may have taken for granted. When we're in flow and we're really tapped into that genius, then we're able to notice, hey, this is something that really stands out about me. I spent tens of thousands of hours in video games growing up. well, why don't I integrate more gamification into my business and about who I am? Because that's a huge part of me, you know, like that was something that was a really big breakthrough for me. So it's like when we're in that flow and constantly diving into who are we, what are these pieces of me, how can we integrate them together, how can we bring them together, how can we be aware and observant and non-judgmental and have a space of, you know, selflessness, effortlessness, timelessness to be able to recognize. Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
It's powerful, man.
I love the way that you word things, Chris. It's just really like you articulate things very well, and I think for your audience, that's just excellent.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. It is a blast. I love being having a linguistic genius, not being, right? having a linguistic genius. And yeah, man, it's really cool what we're able to create when we're focused on being a peak performer. So in terms of anything else you feel can really raise our performance up to get us into a flow state or be that greatest possible self that we know we're capable of being, anything else you'd recommend to our audience?
So yeah, just a couple of things. Watch out for synchronicity. Watch out for serendipity. Because those are the moments they're telling you, hey, I'm in flow. So you're seeing a bunch of things over and over again, and they're good. They're in that feeling of rightness, that internal yes. Yeah, you're there. Just make note of that. The other thing that I would tell you is to balance that sense of skill and challenge together. So having that, knowing where your limit is at in terms of, oh, is this too challenging for me? Is this the right level of challenge that can keep in that flow? And the final thing is just being able to, so actually let me pull up some of these fundamentals here. I think you guys have earned it.
Yes.
so meditating. Okay, meditating because of that aspect of mindfulness, and that microflow is so crucial. So meditating every day, daily, this kind of introspective activity leaves you with no distractions. Now think of flow, no distractions, right? That sense of concentration, enhanced concentration. And that embodiment. So I've created a meditation for my clients specifically in terms of flow and how they can use that flow state. It's kind of going, revisiting, like where are they highest in flow, and then coming back down. So as they do that daily, it's getting them to merge the two worlds of just your genius and just your regular day-to-day life.
Yeah.
And I think that just being able to prioritize how you're feeling on an emotional level is also an incredibly important aspect of flow. And you have to act fast because the flow state will lose itself. It's called transient hypofrontality, right? Transient meaning it's time-based.
Right.
Fleeting.
It goes quickly.
Right. And we want to make it lasting, right? So we don't want it to just go away. So if you keep doing it over time, it becomes much more natural. And I mean, what the Flow Genome Project is doing, I mean, just incredible work. They're reverse engineering the process and really figuring out, like, how does this thing work? And part of what I'm doing is similar. I'm just trying to figure out a way to apply different methods for people who are like me, who've been through similar experiences. How can they get to that next level of just combining these fragmented personalities? When we go into fake it till you make it, that's a great approach. I'll give you that. But we have all these different personalities.
Right.
We have our drill sergeant side. We have our hippie side. Right. Oh man, they're fighting together. They can't really get along. They have to hug, brother. They have to get to that level where, hey, this is a holistic being here. And that's what I was talking about earlier as well, merging the polarities. And one thing that helps with branding that I got from Chris King, shout out to you, man, is that polarity, that sense of polarity. That, hey, some people are going to like your brand, some people aren't. That's okay. You're still you, you're doing you. And just I'm standing on the shoulders of giants, man. Like my mentors, the people that I've talked to in my podcast, just like you're doing now, just being able to talk to people and get that perspective has really helped to shape me. Getting that input from other high performance coaches just has helped me in terms of just what my own brand stands for and like what is my own level of genius and how I can tap into that.
Yeah. Powerful, powerful, man. I love it. So we're beginning to wrap up here, and like in terms of the final words of wisdom that you want our audience to get, what would you say is that the final takeaways, the final things that they can really take action on and integrate into their own life?
Practice being completely now, completely in the present moment.
That's good.
Because that's all we have. If you're worrying about some future that you don't know is going to happen, you can tap into that. You can imagine your higher self. You can imagine that future and merge it. But the best way to merge it is to realize you already have it and be grateful for what you do have. Okay, so I would just say, get that level of being present completely in the moment. And the other thing would just be the final, it's just be like a fish in the ocean. Be like a fish. Nobody can catch you. Okay, you have the ability to drop anything at a moment's notice and do something else if you want. You have that sense of versatility in your business, in your life, love life, anything, in the gym, anywhere. You can apply this to any aspect of your life. And the last thing I'd say sounds cliche, but follow your joy. That's your golden north. Just keep focusing on it, and the ship of flow will sail along. And yeah, I mean, sometimes we get into that stormy sea in terms of that struggle of the beta brain, as we were talking about.
Yep.
But hey, at other times it's smooth sailing. So hang in there and keep on sailing, keep on splashing. Thanks for having me on, Chris.
Absolutely, man. How do people stay connected with you? What do we want them to do next? They want to know about the Flow Awakening Fundamentals course and just what you got going on, man. So tell them what they can do.
So the best way that you can get in touch with me is either through Facebook, and you can, my full name, Sumedh Chatterjee, but also just Coaching with Sum, my website, Coaching with Sum, that's coachingwithsume.com. And through there, I'll just have a lot of stuff based on the different things I'm doing, and I'm going to be posting on there. So just that's a great way to keep in touch with me. And I'm very active on Instagram. So that Splash Life, that's THATSPLASH Splash Life. And yeah, and I have another Flow Zone page. Flow Zone Academy is the academy that I'm currently working on. That's the coaching program. That's the brilliant new project, and it's probably going to be an added addition to my brand, and it's actually perhaps going to overtake my current brand. And this is really working well. So yeah, that's how you can get in touch with me, man. Instagram and my website is the perfect way to do it. And also just, if you find me on Facebook, Sumedh Chatterjee, that's SUMEDHCHATTERJEE. Just send me a friend request and just let's get talking. I love doing live videos. I'm doing a 30-day challenge so far. And I would love for people to connect with me and just shoot me a message if you want to talk about this idea of flow or tapping into your inner genius. This is what I love. And this is what I'm going to keep doing until I get to that level of mastery where I can maybe share to others my techniques and have other people also practice what I'm preaching. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Great
Dude,
to be on here.
You're on fire, brother. Thanks so much for being on. You're rocking it, and super proud of you. All the amazing work that you're doing.
You're Mr. Heartfire, man. You're rocking it yourself, bro.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. This is just the beginning, man. We're both on a freaking rocket ship courses to even more greatness and abundance and travel and fun and impact and flow and all the amazing things. So, dude, keep up the amazing creation. And I'm excited to keep the journeys evolving and keep our minds evolving, keep our genius evolving, and to just see what we can create together, man. So have the best day ever over there, and keep shining, man. Keep shining your light.
Thank you, my man.
You're
May
welcome.
the flow be with.
That's right, baby. I'll see you soon.
See you, man.
Peace.